Oh. And trust me, the old ways can haunt you sometimes.
Podcast.
Be that business owner that stands out and
Welcome
is very
to
productive.
podcast.
You're so confident.
I am your
How
host.
do you do
It starts with Built, where does your confidence come from?
Okay.
Paperwork made simple.
Right.
Built takes all the hustle away. Yeah, don't be like her. Built is your all-in-one simplified
Right,
finance
into that,
platform.
right.
It's your home for invoices, payments, your payroll, and so much more.
Oh, wow.
Grow your business today. Sign up now at
That's right.
built.africa. Download the Built app now.
Maybe this episode.
Be that business owner that stands out and is very productive.
You're so confident. How do you do
It
it?
starts with Built, where does your confidence come from? Paperwork made simple. Built takes all the hustle away. Yeah, don't be like her. Built is your all-in-one simplified finance platform. It's your home for invoices, payments, your payroll, and so much more.
Oh, wow.
Grow your business today. Sign up now at built.africa. Download the Built app now.
Go to my class. Excellent.
Be that business owner that stands out and is very productive.
You're so confident. How do you do it?
It starts with Built, where does your confidence come from? Paperwork made simple. Built takes all the hustle away. Yeah, don't be like her. Built is your all-in-one simplified finance platform. It's your home for invoices, payments, your payroll, and so much more.
Oh, wow.
Grow your business today. Sign up now at built.africa. Download the Built app now.
Excellent.
Be that business owner that stands out and is very productive.
You're so confident. How do you do it?
It starts with Built, where does your confidence come from? Paperwork made simple. Built takes all the hustle away. Yeah, don't be like her. Built is your all-in-one simplified finance platform. It's your home for invoices, payments, your payroll, and so much more.
Oh, wow.
Grow your business today. Sign up now at built.africa. Download the Built app now.
Excellent.
Be that business owner that stands out and is very productive.
You're so confident. How do you do
It
it?
starts with Built, where does your confidence come from? Paperwork made simple. Built takes all the hustle away. Yeah, don't be like her. Built is your all-in-one simplified finance platform. It's your home for invoices, payments, your payroll, and so much more.
Oh, wow.
Long computations, delayed salaries. Your staff are running out of patience.
I get some place, talk this one like you go be me. I have to carry your phone.
Those scary dreams could
The introduction,
become real. No need for such drama. Manage your payroll easily and instantly with just one tap. Sign up today at built.africa. Download the Built app now.
Let him bring there. Oh, I just go put this one. This is it.
This is Kweku. He is stuck with the old way of doing payroll.
Let's play the advert.
Oh. And trust me, the old ways can haunt you sometimes. Long computations, delayed salaries. Your staff are.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another wonderful Friday. Today, as always, we are having our Finance Friday series, and this is brought to you by Built Financial Technologies. Built is a software, accounting software platform, and this is in partnership with Encore Media. So for all your wedding and your programs that you need a media coverage, you can reach out to Encore. So today we are talking about protecting your business against financial fraud. Protecting your business against financial fraud. In the past, we have had, similar discussions about how to manage your business, how to, account for your business, and how to manage your finances and stuff like that. In that same spirit, we are now looking at how you are going to prevent leakages in your finances. So today we are just talking about protecting your business against financial fraud. And the few things we are going to discuss are mainly going to be bordered on ways that we think you can protect your business against financial fraud. Now, when we talk about financial fraud, one might ask, what is it? Basically, it is, an attempt or something that someone might do illegally to leak funds from your business, right? So anything that anybody might do to hurt your business's finances. And the objective of today's discussion mainly is to ensure, to find ways to explore strategies that you can use to, safeguard your business and to prevent it from financial fraud. And then we also will look at, some practices that can enhance your fraud prevention measures. Now, one might ask, why does this even matter? Right? Why is it necessary for us to go through this? The thing is that if you are being frauded, right? Fraud can hugely devastate your business. Fraud can devastate your business hugely. Apart from that, it can end you in, severe financial losses, coupled with legal issues and reputational damage that your business might suffer, right? So we think it's very important that you find ways to, reduce or limit financial fraud. Now, let's move on. There are a few ways that or things that influence fraud. We call it the fraud triangle. If you have ever studied audit before, I'm sure there's something you will come across. The fraud triangle basically tells us what motivates people usually to commit fraud. And the very first one, it's in no particular order, but from what we have here, the very first one is rationalization, right? This is where people usually give justification for the fraud they are committing. So for instance, you hear somebody say, you hear an employee say, I don't get paid enough after all. Or after all, everyone else is doing it. Everyone else is stealing from the company. Or everyone else is duping the company or frauding the company. So if I'm doing same, nothing spoils. Or I intend to put it back. There are staff who may, embezzle funds with the intention, as they may communicate, that they intend to put the funds back. Or someone might also say that, well, nobody will miss this money anyway. It's just small portion. It's just 100 cedis. It's just 5,000. The business makes more money. If 5,000 is missing, nothing will be, at stake. So people rationalize, reasons for committing fraud. That is one aspect. Another thing too is that one thing that influences fraud is when there is an opportunity, right? So where oftentimes someone will say, no one is watching me. After all, no one is monitoring. Nobody will know. Or there is no rule. There is no policy around this area. This is a gray area. So where there is an opportunity, there is also a way for people to commit fraud. And another thing that influences fraud is pressure. And this usually happens to a whole lot of people, where someone is under financial pressure, either from their bills, from their debts, what have you. They have need of money. They get to involve in fraud. And in fact, this thing is very, very critical, especially amongst young employees. There's a certain form of addiction that is going on, when it comes to particularly sports betting, right? We have had instances where employees, who are very much addicted to sports betting, yet do not have their own funds, tend to dip their hands in company funds to engage in such things. So this is basically the fraud triangle. That's reasons why people, or the things that motivate people to commit fraud. They're either rationalizing it, that's justifying it. Everybody is doing some, so me too, let me do some. Or there's an opportunity, meaning there's a loophole somewhere in the operations. Or there's a certain form of financial pressure on them. These are the reasons why, or what inspire people to commit fraud. So we now want to look at 10 ways that, you can use to mitigate or to minimize these things. So let's move on to 10 ways that, you can protect your business against financial fraud, having known what motivates people. Now, the very first one is that you need to implement strong controls. You have to establish, robust internal control systems. That will be, the core for preventing fraud. The whole point is that when we talk about controls, it's basically the mechanisms that run your operations, right? So in your operation, probably, let's take, for example, a business like a manufacturing business, right? Where procurement people will go and buy the raw materials, and then the manufacturers will now be the people putting the raw materials into use, blah, blah, blah. The point that we are driving at is, in your business's operation, make sure that there are segregation of duties so that no single employee has control of all the financial transactions. Remind you, we said that one thing that paves way for people to commit fraud is where there is an opportunity. So if there is one single employee who does end-to-end of the financial transactions, there could be an opportunity for the person to commit fraud. Again, you need to have an approval process, right? So that it becomes somewhat difficult for an employee to initiate and approve their own financial activities. Also, you need to conduct regular checks. All of these things are ways to ensure that, you have a stronger control in place. Moving on, another way that you can use to prevent fraud, or you can implement to prevent fraud, is to make sure that regular audits are being conducted. By this, you'll be able to identify discrepancies and ensure compliance. So for big corporates, most of us who might have worked in big corporates, you see that they have internal control and compliance units. What their role is mainly is to ensure that all employees are complying with the standards or the policies of the business, including those who are in finance. So they are to ensure that, finance people are playing by the books, right? For small businesses like us, yours and ours, right? We may not probably be able to, employ such a department. So it will become, it is more expedient on us to find a way to do regular internal audits of our financial practices, especially where the employees are few. You realize that most of the jobs or most of the works are being centered around a few people. So every once in a while, periodically, make sure that you are doing a review of your financial practices. That will help you identify any loopholes that there may be. And once in a while too, you might want to, engage the services of external independent people who are not biased to come and do this assessment for you. And the good thing is that once you have audited your financial activities, right, whatever outcome that comes from it, whatever findings, whatever insights you make from it, you need to make sure that you are implementing them. That is the only way you'll be able to, or that's one of the most effective ways you'll be able to, seal up all the loopholes and to improve your fraud protection. Right. The next thing is that you need to educate and train not only your employees, but yourself also. Because all of these things, education and training, gives you the opportunity to recognize fraud as and when they may happen and to be able to prevent them. So for small businesses like yours or ours, what we need to do is to implement training programs. Every now and then you might want to invite people with experience in financial fraud or experience in any form of fraud, bring them on board, to come and train the employees, to train yourself, get yourself abreast with some of the schemes that fraudsters do use. And mind you, fraudsters are actually not always or only too far away. Sometimes they are amongst our employees, right? So it's very necessary to do some of these training programs. And then also you need to have some form of awareness campaigns. You go to some offices and they have posters on the board, indicating how they eschew financial fraud and some of the repercussions that comes in place when there are financial fraud. Another thing too is that you need to encourage people to report some of these incidences. I have had the opportunity where I observed You know, one of these, some of these supermarkets, they operate big warehouses. And oftentimes, these are places where their employees find the opportunity to, defraud them a lot. So there was this big supermarket operating a warehouse somewhere where one of their employees, started siphoning some of the inventory. And one person saw it and went to report. And unfortunately, he was being, referred to or being identified as an accomplice to the one who was committing that fraud, right? So when something like this is in place, what it basically does is when people see fraudulent activities, they will just close their eyes, because after all, if they come and say it, they will let them go home, right? So what we are saying is that you need to educate and train your people and encourage them to, report some of these activities as and when they observe them. Now, the next thing, moving on, is that we say foster a culture of integrity. And we say this because if you promote a culture of honesty and transparency, it will help you to prevent fraud. We say leadership is basically by example. If your employees observe you to be one who doesn't have that ethic of honesty and transparency, it's going to be something that will inadvertently be, embedded in them. They will do it unknowingly or uncontrollably. So we advise that you have a certain code of conduct, right? You develop and enforce that particular code of conduct that will, promote that level of honesty and transparency. Also have an open communication, engage in dialogue. These are all measures to, as we mentioned before, encourage people to report. And most importantly, you need to lead by example. If you as a business owner or you as a business leader, right, find yourself committing fraud or dupe people in one way or the other, if your employees observe this with you, they can easily replicate that, on you. So we need you, or we advise that you foster a culture of integrity. That's one of the best ways, you can prevent your business from being subjected to fraud. Another thing also, moving on, is that you protect sensitive information. Protect sensitive information. Don't make your financial information open to all employees. I mean, there have to be controls, as we mentioned. People should have access to what they need access to, right? So every information that is confidential, you need to find a way to safeguard it. There's something we call data encryption. Put sensitive information in encrypted, fonts, or use passwords, have access controls. People should not everybody should be allowed access to certain places. You understand? So put in protective measures to sensitive information, most importantly. The next point is that we advise that one way you can prevent your business from being a subject of fraud is to conduct background checks, especially on your employees. Because oftentimes, businesses employ criminals unknowingly. And I use that word advisedly, right? You need to do a thorough background checks to help you know your employees and the partners you are working with, how trustworthy they are, right? So most businesses, most big corporates, what they do is they do reference checks. They reference, they verify whether you worked with the previous place you said you worked with and what's your relationship with them was. Also, we advise that you review your employees' financial history if that is possible. Like I did mention, we have had an experience where we had one staff who was very addicted to, betting. And like I did mention, addiction is one way of putting pressure on people to commit financial fraud. So before you employ or while you have someone in your employment, it will be very good to have a certain background checks or observations, especially on their behavior when it comes to money and stuff like that. Now, moving on, the next point is that inspect every invoice, right, before you make payment. Inspect every invoice before you make payment, because when you thoroughly review invoices, it will help you prevent any error or any fraudulent activity that might be embedded therein. So what we advise is that make sure you have some form of verification. Check that the invoices that you have received, indeed, they match the purchase order that you place or the delivery receipts that have been brought to you. You have to cross-check to be sure that every other detail is, accurate, right? And then, like we also mentioned, there should be some form of approval process so that not one person sits, in one seat and then perform all the financial transactions. Let me give you this, this was not, there's an incident that happened recently in a bank. It's not invoice related, but what happened was that actually one staff, right, was given the access to the cash count and also the reports to verify the amount of money that was cashed. At that time, the supervisor who was supposed to approve was not at post, but this is someone that he thought he trusted, right? So he gave the person the opportunity to, after having counted the cash, to also do the reports and blah, blah, blah. When he came, he didn't do his verification. He just signed on it. And 2 days after, the internal control unit of the bank observed that there had been a fraudulent activity, about hundreds of thousands of cedis, right? And this is because someone failed to do their checks. So I'm just giving you this, insight that these are ways, these are opportunities that people employ, to commit fraud. So make sure that you inspect every activity before you make payment. Now, moving on. The next thing we also advise is that you use a secure software. Invest in a software that will protect your financial data, from unauthorized people. Of course, secure softwares have some form of passwords, encryptions, and stuff that prevents people unauthorized access, right? Secure softwares, oftentimes we recommend actually that you use softwares that are cloud-based because they give you real-time information on what is going on. So if you have a software for your financial management, it helps you, protect who has access to what. And like I said, if it is cloud-based, there are regular updates that will give you, what is happening in real time, right? The next thing we also advise for you to be able to, prevent financial fraud. The next thing is that monitor your financial transactions regularly. Monitor them regularly. So we observe that, whenever you have an ongoing monitoring of your financial transactions, you'll be able to detect and address every anomaly. The first thing we actually recommend is, if you have bank accounts, it is very, very good to set up alerts for bank accounts, because whenever a transaction happens on your bank account, you'll be able to receive them either via SMS or via email. If you don't have any, we advise that you put one in place right now, right? So that any financial activity that happens on your bank account, you get alerted for or on them. So that if there is anything that you did not authorize or you have no knowledge of, you'll be able to quickly address it and prevent any further escalations, right? Also, when you have, some of these tools in place, you're able to easily do your reconciliations, right? Do them regularly. The final thing we recommend, the final way we think you can protect your business against financial fraud is that you maintain detailed and accurate records. We say that keeping detailed and accurate records is essential for detecting discrepancies. Every financial transaction that you do, you make sure that you document them. Every financial activity, make sure that they are documented. So for instance, today you have sold, assuming you operate a provision shop, you have sold 10 pieces of milk, get them documented. You have bought, say, a furniture, get it documented. You have paid for this, document it. You have paid for that, record it. Every financial transaction, make sure it is being documented, right? And of course, we understand that these things can be hectic, but these are the things that are going to safeguard you or protect you from, fraudulent activities. Also, make sure that you have, a clear audit trail where you're able to track all the financial activities that are going on with your business, so that if there is any, transaction that you did not authorize, or if there is any activity that you did not authorize, you'll be able to quickly refer to who actually had a hand in that particular activity. So these are the 10 ways that we recommend that you implement in a way to prevent your business from fraud. Most importantly, have every financial transaction documented and find a way to make sure that there are audit trails. Of course, we understand that this, especially this final point, can be very hectic to do, especially if you are a very busy person, you are running multiple businesses, or your business is fast-paced, right, and has multifaceted ends. It might be quite challenging to say you are going to record every transaction, to keep track of what goes in here, what goes here, invoices, payments, blah, blah, blah. That's why we recommend that you use the built software. Use the built software, right? So built accounting software can actually help you, in a way to prevent these anomalies or this fraud. What are some of the features of built? We've had, previous conversations where we discussed with you what built can actually help you to do. We say that built is an all-in-one finance platform that you can use for your invoicing, right? So we've advised that record every financial transactions. Right? You may not necessarily be able to say you are recording every invoice in a book, you are recording every invoice somewhere. It may be difficult to do that as busy as you might be. So we recommend you to use built accounting software where you can easily create and share your invoices in a professional way. And on that same invoices, you can get paid on those invoices. And then you can also make payments even faster from built. And from here, we'll have a view of how the built interface is like. And then built also gives you access to POS where you can sell and manage your stocks. You have access to payroll where you can automate your payroll with your staff, blah, blah, blah. Everything that happens that have to do with payroll, you can use the software to do. And we have actually made things very easy by taking the headache of accounting from you. There are many people who find accounting to be somewhat very challenging. So the accounting aspects, of your business is being handled on the background if you are using built accounting software. And then, of course, some businesses do have need of credits, to expand and to embark on other, projects. So built gives you access to flexible financial services as well. And what we have actually observed is that people find it, small businesses in Ghana usually find it very difficult computing their taxes, complying with taxes most especially. So built is an accounting software built in Ghana, not only for Ghana, but it actually helps Ghanaian businesses the more. Why do I say this? Because it has embedded all the Ghanaian taxes, including your withholding taxes, your VAT, NHIL, Get Fund, all those taxes that relates with your business, even payroll taxes, PAYE, all of them have already been embedded in built. So it's a very easy to use platform that will help you, manage your business. And of course, by way of doing that, you'll be able to, minimize fraudulent activities that may go on. So moving on, this is just how Built's platform looks like. If you are on Built, I'm sure you may be able to see this. Otherwise, this is just a pictorial view for you. On the far left, you see the respective controls. This is the dashboard, right? So on Built, you get to see your dashboard, what your business is doing, total revenue in, total expenses, blah, blah, blah. On the far left, where the controls are, you can do an invoice, you can do expenses, you can do wallet is where you usually use to make payments and to receive payments. Right. So we have a mobile wallet option for easy, financial transactions for you. Product and services, you use that to set up what you are selling and what you are buying, right? So if you are into retail business or if you're into manufacturing or you provide services, you can set up all those services over there. And then, like I did mention, we have access to, we have a financial platform that provides some form of business credits to SMEs like yours and ours, right? So CRM feature on the far left again is where you'll be able to send customized messages to your employees, to your suppliers, to your debtors. I mean, whatever group of counterparties that you have, you can use Build CRM feature to communicate with them. And then where the headache is for most people is the accounting aspect. Actually here, if you are new to accounting, you may not necessarily need to use it. We recommend actually that an accountant use it. But if you have no knowledge in accounting at all, the basic things that you will need is your invoices, your expenses, right? Because the accounting bit, what you mostly accountants do there is with passing journals and doing corrections and stuff like that. But if your invoicing and your expenses are accurate, you are good to go. Otherwise, any accountant can use that aspect also for you. And then most importantly, when you are using a software, there is a need for you to get, access to your real-time financial reports. Right? So the report section not only gives you balance sheet and income statement, but you get to see reports like goods that you have sold, the revenue from each good, revenue from each service, the respective people that you owe, your receivables, your payables, you even get reports on the taxes that you owe, right? So that is basically a general overview of the Build platform. And we recommend that to your business that you make use of Build platform or Build accounting software so that you'll be able to easily, record the financial transactions that happens with your business. And by so doing, minimize the impact of fraud happening to your business. So this is what we have for you today. We'll just quickly go over what we have done today. We did mention that, fraud is where anybody takes an undue influence to dupe your business. And the reason why it matters for us to prevent it is basically fraud can devastate your business. It can jeopardize your business. People can dupe you huge sums of money and to cause you serious financial losses and all of that. Again, we said that there is something we call the fraud triangle where which gives us the motivation behind why people commit fraud. Someone will say that, I'm not being paid enough. That's rationalization. Or they will say that everybody else is doing it. So they are rationalizing their fraudulent activity. Others also is because they have the opportunity. It's the same person who approve the payment, who make the payment and all of that. Because it's the same person, no one else is checking. It gives them the opportunity to commit fraud, right? And other people to DS might be that they are under some form of financial pressure or there's something, pushing them to quickly get some form of money. And this is one thing that will influence them to commit fraud. So moving on, we said that we recommend 10 ways that, you can put in place to prevent fraud from happening to your business. And the very first one, we mentioned that you implement strong controls so that you have segregated duties. Not only one person doing everything. Someone does some, someone does some, someone does some. Right, and then there should be some approval process where the work that, assuming I'm your employee, the work that I do, right, which involves money, I shouldn't be the same person to approve or to authorize. Otherwise, I can slip some things, under the table. So there should be some form of approval process, and then you should do regular reviews of the whole process, right? The second thing we recommended also is that you conduct regular audits, because every now and then, things are happening, things are evolving. So you need to audit your operations to be sure that the people or the employees that you have, they are complying with the policies and the standards that you have put in place. The third thing we also recommended is that you educate and train not only yourself but your employees. Have programs that bring awareness of fraud to them, and then encourage them to report fraudulent activities whenever they find one. The fourth thing that we recommend is that you foster a culture of integrity. And here we say that leadership is basically by example. So in your own business conduct, make sure that you are not being fraudulent, right? If you are being fraudulent, it gives your employees the rationalization. Remember the fraud triangle, the justification to also dupe or fraud your business. The next thing is the fifth thing we recommend is that you protect sensitive information. Have access control. Don't let every employee see everything, right? Give access to only authorized personnel only. Don't open your financial books or access to your money just ajar. There should be some form of control that prevent people from seeing. Now, the next thing we also spoke about is that the employees that you are working with, make sure you have some form of background checks on them, right? Understand their financial history, right? Understand who they are as people, right? Because if they are people, like I said, some people have employed criminals unknowingly. If there are people with, very indecent financial behavior, they are very likely to visit it on your business. The next thing is that you inspect every invoice before the payment is being made. Because again, these are ways that people, commit fraud. Sometimes, most often than not, when they want to fraud you, they may inflate invoices and stuff like that to get to your pockets. Now, the next thing is use a secure software. And this we said that have a software that has some form of encryption. Some people would like to go with the more affordable software. So I've observed some businesses that do use Excel for their activities. That is very affordable, but that is also very, very risky. But even if you are using Excel, Excel has a feature where you put encryption on your data. Just that when you encrypt it and you forget your password, it's going to be encrypted forever. So even if you are using Excel or any software that is very, very affordable, make sure you have some level of encryption on it. Now, the next thing we also recommend is that you monitor every financial transaction regularly. And the final one is make sure that you are recording and maintaining details of every financial transaction. And especially these two, or in addition to the encrypted software, is what Built helps you on, right? So you may not be able to, put financial transactions on paper every now and then, right? But Built accounting software can help you to do this easily. The interesting thing about Built also is that you get to see audit trails whenever any of your employees, make any amendments in any of your financial data, you'll be able to track it in real time. So these are the various ways that we recommend that you put in place, to prevent financial fraud. At this point, we open up for questions and contributions that you may have. We'll humbly take them and then address them. Thank you. If you have any question. Okay, you can raise your hand also if you have any question or any comments you want to make. You can raise your hand. Those of us in Zoom, those in the Zoom meeting room. Any question? Any comments? Okay. All right. So if you want to reach us, actually, you can reach us on 0308. That's our number on the screen. 0308 040 007. You will need an accounting software for your business. You need, a finance software for your business. You can reach Built on 0308 040 007. 0308 040 007. And like I did mention at the beginning, we are actually doing this in partnership with Encore Media. Encore Media. So if you need any coverage for your weddings, your birthdays, funerals, any events that you are having, you can reach out to Encore Media. You can visit Encore Media's handles on Instagram, right? And on TikTok, on X, it's Encore Media, ENCORE Media, right? Encore Media. All right. So in the absence of any question or any comments, we'll bring our Finance Friday discussion to an end today. And today we have basically gone through ways that you can prevent financial fraud. Do have a good business weekend. Thank you.
Grow your business today. Sign up now at built.africa. Download the Built app now. Excellent. Be that business owner that stands out and is very productive.
You're so confident. How do you do it?
It starts with Built. Where does your confidence come from? Paperwork made simple. Built takes all the hustle away. Yeah, don't be like her. Built is your all-in-one simplified finance platform. It's your home for invoices, payments, your payroll, and so much more.
Oh, wow.
Grow your business today. Sign up now at built.africa. Download the Built app now. Out of patience. Why? Those scary dreams could become real. No need for such drama. Manage your payroll easily and